Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Loyalty Chat with Tom. Today's a really interesting one. There's been a lot of feedback and a lot of discussion around the loyalty industry, around whether blockchain and Web3 is the future of loyalty. Who knows? I can't say for sure. I think these developments are key. But the news we've had recently with Starbucks abandoning their Odyssey program has led to even more debate about this. And today I am very pleased to be joined by Geert Roete, who will introduce himself and tell us a little bit about how he's a real expert in this field. I'm going to get into a discussion about where blockchain and Web3 can be a solution for loyalty. And hopefully people watching this will be able to feed back and tell us what they think. So Geert, over to you. Please, could you introduce and tell us about your expertise in this field?
Sure, Tom. So thanks for having me. I'm
My
Geert.
pleasure.
I'm the co-founder of SailCloud, which is a customer loyalty and engagement platform which specifically focuses on Web3. And we have created the system like 2 years ago, and now really further improving and developing the platform with brands, so with sports organizations, different events, conferences that we work with. And yeah, happy to be here.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for being here. And I think the key question that we'd like to ask here is blockchain and Web3 a future solution for the loyalty industry? So yeah, so your thoughts?
Yeah, I like that question to start with. And if you're talking about the future, I always like to look to where are we coming from? And if we take a look into loyalty, we can talk about loyalty 1.0, which for me is like the punch card, right?
Yeah.
10 stamps, you get 11 something for free. We have loyalty 2.0 with like that revolution of mobile apps, whereby everyone on their mobile phone, they have an app, and basically 99% of brands, we are still there. And with Web3, we have loyalty 3.0, whereby instead of apps on a mobile phone, we have wallets also on that mobile phone. But with that new loyalty 3.0, there comes another concept in place, and that's about ownership. And that's something that we definitely will talk about today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the ownership thing is what people are in the loyalty industry are concerned about. And I think it's fair to be concerned, but yeah, let's build to that point. But let's talk about the Starbucks and their Odyssey program. I mean, they've moved away from that quite abruptly, and there's lots of debate around how and why they've done that. And I know that you've got a little bit of insight to that. So let's talk about that just for a few minutes. And my view on that, as I've put on LinkedIn, is that actually perhaps they just didn't get the application right, or maybe they got the application right for the time. So we go back 3 or 4 years, and people were talking about tradable NFTs and gamification, and that's really where people thought blockchain would be. And it feels to me like maybe they've moved away from that. And in their statement, they have said that they will come back to this type of technology. And I think they'll just come back in a slightly different guise. But I still think they will be doing something in that area. So please, what are your thoughts on this? Why do you think that Starbucks has come away from that program?
Yeah, I think the first thing to say is that the Starbucks Odyssey program, they always claimed, they always mentioned it's a beta program. So for them, everyone knows Starbucks has like one of the most popular loyalty programs on the globe, with like 75 million people using or being in that loyalty program, right? And basically the Starbucks loyalty program, it acts as a bank because a lot of people have money in it, and basically it's a bank, so it brings yield to Starbucks, right? It's important to understand. It's real, how you say that, they dared to innovate with on the front of Web3 in something, because they come from something very popular, but still they said like, okay, we are going to jump into this Web3 space, and yeah, it's a beta, so we will try things out. we will run this for like a year and a half, and we will assess how that worked out. And that's basically what they did. But first, when they started this program, it's interesting to note that they got quite a financial incentive from one of the blockchains
Yeah.
to do just that. I think that's really the starting point, because you have this incredibly successful loyalty program. Why would you go into this Web3 loyalty program? Well, if someone is waving with a big check, that helps, of course.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, that helps, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And like you say, it was a beta, right? So they were working with this blockchain partner to try a bunch of things within the space, which they have very successfully tested.
Again, for anyone in the Web3 space, it was like a gift from God, because finally a large brand had the balls, so to say, to really jump into this space and do something that really mattered, whereby really people got excited about, and like, okay, everyone knows Starbucks, and this just makes sense because they will want to have that relationship with the customer. Even I build it out even further and better. And for anyone in Web3, we were all a bit sick of hyped NFTs and like, okay, no utility whatsoever. And then Starbucks came with that, with their loyalty program, and with loyalty comes rewards and benefits. And now finally we could say, yeah, you see, it's not only like expensive JPEGs, it's not expensive images or visuals. It's really, you can do something with it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we know it would stop at a certain point because it was a beta.
Yeah, okay. It was a trial. It was a test. Okay, well, that's an interesting view on it, and I think you're right, and I do think that they will be back with some sort of blockchain Web3 solution within their loyalty strategy. I think they tested a lot of things, didn't they? They tested the quests, they tested it, which is a gamification tool. They tested the trading of the NFTs. They tested a number of different things within that program, and let's not go into super detail, but I think they will be back. Okay, so the question that's out there, there's two questions really that are being asked, I think, and people are posing to me. And the first one of those is, okay, so what does blockchain and Web3 actually do for us that isn't available from the traditional technology? We can connect with APIs. We can give consumers gift cards, digital gift cards, physical gift cards. Is there really a need for blockchain actually within loyalty? And that's kind of the first question. So, what are your thoughts on that? What does blockchain actually give us that Web2 doesn't?
Well, I think first we need to move away a bit from the technical stuff, meaning blockchain, and in fact, a ledger is a very unsexy business. It's just a
Yeah,
ledger, right?
yeah.
So we need to first take a step back, whereby we talk about concepts. And if we look to loyalty 2.0, the traditional Web2 loyalty, it is always about a closed ecosystem, right?
Mhm.
And basically you sign up in an app, email address, password, and then you are in that walled garden, whereby, okay, you save some points, and then maybe you get a reward once often in a while. Okay.
Mhm.
Now we need, or what blockchain enables, that you go away from that closed ecosystem, and that you put the ownership in the hands of your loyalty member, and that he decides what can be done with that. That's
Yeah.
already a very important element. And me, as a member in that loyalty system, I get more tools to create an identity within that loyalty program. So, in basically any loyalty program, you get maybe like a membership card, and okay, that's it. And now I save points and I can do something. So a very transactional focus, right?
Hmm.
But in that ownership-based solution or concept, as an owner, I have decision rights, but I have also identity rights, and I'm a part of a community. So on a conceptual level, that's already a very big difference.
Mm. Yeah, I see. And that community really is defined by the consumer, the member, that they decide who else is in that community, and or rather who else they interact with within that community.
Exactly. And what's so strong about the community, it is about shared values, shared experiences, and shared beliefs, right?
Hmm.
And thanks to the blockchain, you can really prove that, yeah, I had that same experience. I also went to maybe the Wembley Stadium or some concert or a football match whatsoever. So you can really prove that. And within that community, you have anyone can be his own identity through different traits that an NFT, a digital asset, can have. And on each of those traits, yeah, you could have different perks and benefits that comes with that.
I see. So what are the practical applications of that? So I think from a loyalty business, you could invite lots of partners to interact with your existing community. You could give consumers a lot more versatility, flexibility of the way that they can interact with your program, whether it be points earn if you're in a points based type of program, or it could be other offers from partners. It could be ways to use your points, etc. That it creates a lot of flexibility and it makes it much more cost effective to create those partnerships.
Yeah, I like that you bring up that point because for me, one of the biggest difference for a manager that needs to obviously manage a loyalty program in Web2, you're very internally focused. You need to really extend that lifetime of that customer and really extend that value of that lifetime by pushing him to more transactions. How you do that? By giving him points when he spends money. It's
Yeah.
and most programs are basically that. In Web3, you are also still focused on transactions, but there's much more. You are much more externally focused and you become a partnership manager. And you start to think like, okay, which other brands or maybe retail stores or restaurants or football clubs, sports clubs in general, in fact, could make sense where I, as a brand, could, yeah, link my brand onto.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about technicals, about, okay, how do we link those two together?
Yeah, I see. So it creates it's a very, very much a one-to-one solution, because within if you are a hotel chain, a major hotel chain, you've got millions of customers and they all have different interests. Some might use you because they're going to see Taylor Swift. Some might use you because they're going to see a football game. Some might use you because they like short breaks and they like doing history tours and things like that. But actually, the blockchain and the Web3 solutions will make it so much easier to offer people things that are appropriate for them. And you can scale that very easily. But the killer question is, and we are going to run out of time, I think, so maybe we come back and talk about this in more detail in another one. But just to get a quick answer for you, the killer question there is, do the loyalty businesses want to do that? Do they want to relinquish control of the consumer and have the consumer have all those opportunities outside of their existing, you named it, a walled garden? And that's what's happening. They will lose control of that consumer. And I'm going to ask you for an answer in just 30 seconds, just to keep to the time. And I suggest we come back and discuss this at another opportunity.
Yeah, we discussed this right before the call, and I like that question. Is that I think in the future brands will differentiate themselves from others just by how do I value my customer? Do I value my customer with giving him the flexibility, the choice and the decision making of, hey, I'm an owner of your loyalty program, or I'm a member and I decide myself what I do with it? Or am I still want to restrict that relationship, like I'm in control, you do what I do, and if you do not do what I do, basically you cannot be a member anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I see. So it's down to being consumer centric, isn't it? And I think probably brands will have to think about this. It's okay. So it's saying, well, I won't do this. I don't want to relinquish control. That is good up to the point when your major competitor does do it. So yeah, listen, we need to come to an end now, just to keep it within time frame. But Geert, it's been absolute pleasure. I think actually we should do another one of these in a week or two to discuss that particular point. So I hope you're up for it, and I'll see you then. But thank you everybody for listening, and we'll see you again soon.